What's going on, guys? This is Byron, the Multiple Interests Man, and welcome back to another episode of Byron's Bios. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I have decided to do another movie review on a movie that's basically so bad it's good. And I may sound insane when I say this, but I am talking about the Super Mario Bros. Movie from 1993. Now, before I give away everything in this review, I would like to let you guys know that if you have not seen this movie, just do not watch this review until after you watch the movie, because basically I'm going to give away some spoilers, so... I mean, they're kind of spoilers if you have not seen it, but if you have, then you're at the right place. So the plot is where a meteor hits Earth, killing off dinosaurs like it actually happened in real life. Though two dimensions had been split. One is Dino Hatton, and the other is the real world. There's even a time jump to 1973 where an egg along with this mysterious rock was left at an orphanage, and once the egg hatched, it turned out to be an actual human baby, which is a baby girl. Then time jump to 2 decades later, we see the Mario brothers, both Mario and Luigi, doing their plumbing jobs as usual. And Luigi meets this beautiful woman named Daisy, the girl that Luigi falls in love with, who was the one that got descended from dinosaurs and a long-lost princess of another dimension. However, Iggy and Spike, which are the Koopalings, enter the real world by kidnapping Daisy and taking her to Dino Hatton as told by President Koopa, who is Bowser. And Mario and Luigi realize that the water pipes are open. They try to fix it, but they get sucked into another dimension, which again happens to be Dino Hatton. From there, President Koopa learns about Mario and Luigi as he wants them captured and get turned into Goombas. So they go to prison, but they manage to escape from there to rescue Daisy. We also see Toad for a bit in the movie, which he later gets transformed into a Goomba. And yet Daisy manages to escape from being isolated with the other girls that were also kidnapped. And once the Mario brothers and Daisy head back to Brooklyn, Mario and Luigi attacked Koopa by pulling out their devolution guns and turning Koopa into primeval slime. So after a long journey, and despite Daisy deciding to stay in Dino Hatton, including her father, who is the king, the day is saved. And the last time jump to 3 weeks later is where Daisy reunites with Luigi and the Mario brothers continue their plumbing duty as Daisy asks them for help. So that's basically it. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, but I can see why a lot of people despise this version of the movie. Because this movie did not age very well. And let me explain everything. Now, there are some good qualities in this movie, and there are some nice things that I can say about this. One of the things to point out is that the plot actually went really well, even with some reputation that Buena Vista had when making this movie. Or was it another company? The music is great. Hell, even the opening music was awesome as well, since it was the right music for the right theme, especially for this movie, since it's the Super Mario Bros. As for the writing, when you take a look at it, it's generally okay, but we need to talk about a little bit of it. Now, don't get me wrong here. I've always enjoyed the Mario games, including a live-action TV show that came out a few years prior to this film, the plush tubing videos, including the cute Mario Brothers and Super Mario Logan, which he no longer uses anything Nintendo related in his content. And I mean, when it comes to this movie, you could probably tell that they actually tried to be creative with the interpretation that the movie had, based off of the gaming franchise. Now, there are a bunch of flaws in this movie that made it not only so bad it's good, but also controversial. So let's start off by talking about the characters and a little bit of the character development. For starters, I have no problem with Mario himself, even when he was portrayed by the late Bob Hoskins, and he nearly looked exactly like him. Luigi, on the other hand, he nearly looked exactly like the character when he was portrayed by John Leguizamo, but the only minor issue is that he had no mustache at all. I mean, sure, the actor that portrayed Luigi was young at the time, but still, it's just... I don't even know what to tell you. Other than that, I thought Daisy looked okay, but why the hell didn't they bother adding Princess Peach in the movie, who would have been Princess Toadstool at the time? I mean, it would have made a hell of a lot of sense if the movie version of Mario would end up falling in love with Princess Toadstool, or Peach. As for the rest of the characters, not all the interpretations look badly terrible, like, generally, but none of them looked anything like the ones from the games. First off, Bowser, who was King Koopa at that time, did not look anything like what he was supposed to look like at all. He literally looked like a James Bond type of man with spiky hair. I bet the kids today would be like, why does Bowser look like a human? He's not supposed to look like that. Even the Koopalings were just plain human beings. Like, nobody in Dino Hatton looked like any Koopalings at all. As for Toad, he also looked nothing like what he's supposed to look like either. He looked like a regular human dude. I mean, the movie version of himself didn't look awful, but with him being transformed into a Goomba, That was fricked up. And speaking of Goombas, they made the Goombas look like an army of large men in brown coats with little creature heads like these going... kind of like that, yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, but those creature heads are very uncanny looking. I mean, the Goombas were not supposed to look like those guys at all. They were not supposed to look like they were generally not supposed to. To people that enjoyed the film back in the day, that looks very cool. But to everyone else that knew the Goombas for a long time before discovering the movie, what the hell? As for Yoshi, he almost looked like how we know him from the game since he's a dinosaur, and humans ride on him as if he's a horse. You know? The only issue with the character is that he had a different skin color. I mean, he almost looked green, but nowhere as perfect. Not trying to be racist, but still. Now, another exception that I have regarding the flaws of character designs is that they actually did the designs of the Bob-ombs very well. I actually appreciate that. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about this minor issue that you may or may not have noticed in the movie. So, in one scene, Luigi tells Daisy that Mario is his father. Obviously, this is very confusing when you hear that because Mario and Luigi are supposed to be brothers, not father and son. Because, you know, Mario is not the father of Luigi, and Luigi is not the son of Mario. I mean, I have no idea why they went ahead and put that in the writing. It's just, like, literally, it doesn't get more confusing than that because in the movie, they claim that their names are Mario and Luigi Mario. I mean, basically, it kind of makes sense because, again, they're brothers, but, like, they're not father or son of each other. So, let me get this straight with everything. Despite the flaws that the movie has, you can tell that it was around the time when the Super Mario Brothers became so relevant and a lot of relevant franchises would obtain or try to obtain movie adaptations. And hell, they actually still do those today. And that move has been a thing for a very long time, particularly for a lot of franchises, whether it's a movie, TV show, video game, book, or something based on a true story. It's like they usually try to make it good, but not all of them make it to that point critically, despite some people enjoying it. And with this movie, I'm sure that everyone thought that the Super Mario Brothers movie was going to be a hit because of what they thought it was going to be. But after viewing this film, it probably turned out to be generally poor. It's true. I rely on the critics. Okay, Johnny, relax, okay? I don't rely on critics like you do, so just settle down. Well, you have to look at it this way. And by the way, this is what Chris actually told me. So, when that movie was made, it was around the time when movies had a lot of action and character design that would make it look like a Star Wars, Marvel, or even a DC replica from that time period, particularly in the 80s and 90s. And to tell you the truth, I did like the background settings of Brooklyn and Dino Haddon. And when it comes to interpretations like movies based on video games that would be made in the early 90s, a lot of people find those things to be really cool, despite the critical and financial failures, where a lot of critics rely on those interpretations instead of having their own opinions opinionated. And people claim that those movies are like, oh, I love this movie. It's so good that it's a classic. In my opinion, no, it's not. I mean, I agree that it may be one of those so bad it's good movies, but I never viewed it as a good classic. And now that I think of it, I can definitely see why my mom and her boyfriend enjoyed it when they were a lot younger. Except, when I first discovered the movie, I was looking over pages of, VHS tapes on Amazon back when I was a kid because I grew up watching VHS tapes and DVDs since they were the most common things to have back in the day, and I didn't know what the movie was, and I knew it was something for older audiences, you know, like adults, so I didn't bother watching. And then while I was a junior in high school, I overheard my teacher telling one of my classmates, his name is Kane by the way, regarding the 90s Super Mario Bros. Film, and that he agrees with him on how horrendous it is. I asked him why he knew it was horrible, and he was like, just is. And then eventually I looked into a couple of movie reviews like rants on the film and even Nostalgia Critic's review on the movie itself. So like I watched the movie rant on it that Matthew Davis did a long time ago, and I even watched Nostalgia Critic's version of the film, like his actual review, and also as well the trailer of the movie. From then I understood why my teacher and my classmate despised that film, so I did not bother watching the full movie at all. And it wasn't until earlier this year when I came home one night and I saw my mother and her boyfriend enjoying the new Super Mario Bros. Movie that they watched, which the animated one is so much better, and I literally stated that to them, saying that I thought was way better than the 90s film that aged poorly. And they were like, what? I liked that version! That is a classic! And I decided to give it a watch because apparently I would not judge it if I hadn't seen it. So that's what I did. I actually watched it for free on YouTube, and this is where I would like to rate this movie like now. So I'm just going to give the movie a 2 out of 5. Well, actually, I'm going to rate this a little bit higher for a very good reason. And I have no choice but to give this movie this rating. You see, I thought it was actually average. And like for a very good reason. It's like when looking back at it, to me personally, it wasn't as bad as what a lot of people and critics thought it was, and it wasn't as good as what other people thought it was as well. Same with my family. And plus, I wouldn't say that it was horrible or bad, even though that a lot of people consider it bad, but generally it was just weird. But I mean, it was what it was. I remember also that people claimed that the Mario movie was, quote, cursed, and that they would not make another movie out of it. But like when the newer one was announced, people were like relieved and believed that the curse was broken. And again, I doubt that there's any curse regarding movies based on video games. Was it fun? I mean, in its 90s standards, kind of. Although, I actually did enjoy a couple of moments in the film. Like, I mean, I did enjoy the romance that Luigi and Daisy have, including some of the romance that Mario and Daniela have. And I'm not gonna lie, but I also enjoyed the action that occurred in the film, despite most of the poor interpretation that they did, but yeah. And at the end of the day, with everything being said, this is why that I prefer the Super Mario Bros. Movie from 2023, which was just awesome. I mean, not to mention my mom thought it was cute, but to me it wasn't. It was more than that, because it was just very cool for what it is. And I'm glad that I rewatched it to recover from watching that weird 90s adaptation. Sure, there are some moments in the movie that are cute, but not every moment was like that. But hey, I haven't said this in a long time, but if you like the 90s version of the movie, that is okay. I definitely respect your opinion, and like, I'm not against people that enjoy it. I mean, hey, we all grew up in different generations in the past, so in conclusion, I'm not gonna argue about it anymore. Right, Ezra? Yeah. Just a pretty girl. Say hi. It's okay, shh. Okay, I'll put you down, okay? There you go. Sorry about that. Alright guys, well that is all I have in this review. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Byron's Bios, and also this review on the Super Mario Bros. Movie from '93. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Until then, this is me, Byron, signing off. Peace. Oh, not to mention, be sure to look out for my other movie reviews coming out, including Oppenheimer and Barbie, and also Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the Ghostbusters and Back to the Future movies, and most likely many more, so double peace. I will see you guys later.